Brenda Lee was once a child whose voice could stop a room mid-conversation. Before she was tall enough to reach a microphone stand without help, she was already commanding national audiences. By her early teens, her records were climbing charts, and her appearances on television were regular events. Yet what made her unforgettable was not simply power. It was the emotional depth in her delivery, a richness that felt older than her years. Listeners heard longing, strength, even restraint, in a voice coming from someone barely out of childhood. She was soon nicknamed Little Miss Dynamite, a title that captured her explosive stage presence, but barely hinted at the discipline behind it. Fame came quickly, and with it came expectations. Recording sessions, touring schedules, interviews. Everything moved fast. But unlike the dramatic cautionary tales often told about early fame, Brenda's story is less about collapse and more about endurance. She did not burn out in spectacle. Instead, she quietly evolved, carrying her talent forward even when the spotlight shifted elsewhere. Growing up with music as survival born, Brenda Mae Tarpley on December 11, 1944, in Atlanta, Georgia, she grew up in a working-class family that moved often in search of steady income. Stability was rare, but music was constant. A small battery-powered radio connected her to a world far larger than the modest homes she knew. Church became her first stage. In a Baptist congregation, she sang not to impress, but because it felt natural, almost necessary. Music wasn't ambition yet. It was expression and comfort. Even as a toddler, she sang in neighborhood stores for spare change or small treats. These early performances weren't glamorous, but they revealed something undeniable. Her voice carried. After her father passed away in a workplace accident when she was still young, singing gradually shifted from hobby to responsibility. Local radio shows and community programs followed. Without fully realizing it, Brenda was stepping into a professional life long before most children learn what that word means: a national breakthrough. Her big break arrived in 1955 when she performed on Ozark Jubilee, hosted by country star Red Foley. Singing Jambalaya before a national audience, she displayed a confidence that belied her age. That appearance led to regular television exposure and opened industry doors. Soon after, she signed with Decca Records, marking her transition from promising child performer to recording artist. Early singles tested different styles: country, pop, rockabilly, as producers tried to determine where her distinctive voice fit best. The industry labeled her Little Brenda Lee, emphasizing youth as part of the marketing. Yet the recordings themselves told another story. She didn't sound like a novelty act. She sounded grounded and emotionally present. When One Step at a Time crossed both pop and country charts, it confirmed what attentive listeners already knew. Her talent wasn't a passing curiosity. It was adaptable, strong, and ready for a larger stage. Becoming Little Miss Dynamite. The release of Dynamite cemented her nickname and accelerated her career. Brenda's recordings began climbing the charts with remarkable consistency. Songs like Sweet Nothings and I Want to Be Wanted showcased her ability to balance energy with intimacy. She didn't overpower songs, she inhabited them. Between 1960 and 1962, she achieved 9 consecutive top 10 hits on the Billboard charts, a milestone few female solo artists had reached at that time. Among them, I'm Sorry became a defining moment. Its gentle arrangement and restrained delivery highlighted a softer dimension of her artistry. It climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remains one of her most beloved recordings. The contrast between her small stature and the emotional weight of her voice continued to fascinate audiences. Yet behind the success was relentless work. Studio sessions blended into tours. Each release carried the quiet pressure of maintaining momentum in a rapidly evolving music industry. The Christmas song that waited for its time. In 1958, Brenda recorded Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. At the time, it was just another session. Festive, upbeat, and far removed from the dramatic ballads she was known for. Initially, the song made little impact, but as years passed, it returned every December, slowly embedding itself in holiday traditions. By the digital streaming era, it had become a seasonal staple. Then, in a remarkable twist, the song climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2023, more than 6 decades after its release, making Brenda Lee the oldest artist ever to top the chart. The moment felt less like a comeback and more like a confirmation. A song once overlooked had patiently built its own legacy, carried by memory and repetition rather than hype. It was proof that music sometimes finds its audience on its own timeline. A parallel triumph in the United Kingdom. While American pop tastes shifted in the mid-1960s, Brenda's career flourished overseas. In the United Kingdom, songs like "Speak to Me Pretty" and "Let's Jump the Broomstick" found enthusiastic audiences. She performed at the Star Club in Hamburg, where she shared bills with rising acts, including the Beatles. In 1962, she appeared at the Royal Variety Performance in London, a prestigious event attended by Queen Elizabeth II. These appearances reflected a broader appreciation of her versatility. British audiences seemed to embrace both the rockabilly grit and emotional subtlety in her singing. The international recognition provided balance during a time when the American market was rapidly changing under the influence of new bands and shifting trends. Returning to country roots. As pop evolved, Brenda made a deliberate pivot back to country music. Songs like "Johnny One Time" and "Nobody Wins" established her firmly within the country charts in the late 1960s and early 1970s. This transition was not retreat, but reinvention. Country music offered narrative depth and emotional storytelling, qualities her voice delivered naturally. Freed from the expectation of explosive pop hits, she embraced steadier rhythms and mature themes. Her success in country proved that her artistry was not confined to one era or label. She built a sustainable touring career and remained a respected presence on radio. Rather than chasing trends, she chose alignment with her strengths. That decision allowed her to remain active and relevant without sacrificing authenticity. Recognition and legacy. Over time, formal honors began to acknowledge the breadth of her influence. She was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1997 and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. In 2009, she received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. These recognitions reflected more than chart positions. They honored endurance. Brenda Lee had navigated multiple genres and generations without losing her vocal identity. Her influence can be traced in the phrasing and emotional control of countless singers who followed. She became a bridge between rockabilly's early spark and country's narrative tradition, embodying both without fully surrendering to either. A quiet and steady marriage. In 1963, Brenda married Ronnie Shacklett after meeting him in Nashville. Their relationship developed away from media spectacle. As her career shifted and matured, family became her anchor. Together they raised 2 daughters, Jolie and Julie, balancing touring life with home responsibilities. Unlike the dramatic romances often associated with celebrity, their marriage endured with steady privacy. Ronnie remained largely behind the scenes, offering support without competing with her public identity. That sense of balance allowed Brenda to maintain stability even during career transitions. Family life offered something the stage never could, a place where she didn't have to perform. Later years and reflection. In the 2000s, Brenda gradually stepped back from active touring. Age naturally slowed the pace that had once defined her youth. She published her autobiography, Little Miss Dynamite, reflecting on a life shaped by early fame and constant reinvention. When a fire at Universal Studios in 2008 threatened archived master recordings, It served as a reminder of how fragile artistic history can be. Yet her legacy proved resilient. Songs lived on in reissues, radio play, and streaming platforms. She didn't seek dramatic comebacks or attention. Instead, she allowed the music to carry her story forward. A legacy that speaks for itself. Today, Brenda Lee's life stands as an example of adaptation and quiet strength. She experienced meteoric fame, industry shifts, and renewed recognition, all without surrendering to spectacle. The late success of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree was not a resurrection, but a reminder that art can outlive its original moment. Her voice, compact, emotionally precise, unmistakable, continues to echo each holiday season and far beyond. Rather than a tragic arc or sensational tale, her story offers something steadier. Proof that resilience, thoughtful reinvention, and devotion to craft can sustain a career across decades. In the end, Brenda Lee did not need to explain her silence. The music has always spoken clearly enough on its own.